while back when we first started the show, winter is coming meant something completely different to this guy right here. It meant that I wanted Cersei Lannister to die a horrible, horrible, horrible death. Um, this week took on a whole different meaning. Welcome to Wrestling with Egos. I'm Patrick, joined as I am each and every week by my two best friends in the entire world. The guy in front of the brick wall is Brian, and the guy smelling like a complete idiot is Mark. I mean RJ. Guys, RJ, I don't give a flying crap how you feel. I think we know how you feel. By the way, today your name is Mark. Brian, how you doing?
Doing great. It's been a very mind-blowing wrestling week.
Oh God, yes.
And I have some questions that I will be asking the two of you tonight, and I hope you can shepherd me through the mind-blowing nature of this wrestling week.
And we will, because that's what we do here on Wrestling with Egos. You have questions, we have answers. All that good stuff. RJ, 5 words or less. How you feeling?
Hang on, let me count. I slept with the title.
Oh God!
Mad props for doing it in 5 words.
Yeah, very much props for getting that one in 5 words. So obviously, judging by the look on RJ's face, the smile that you cannot even sandblast off of his face, we have a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion in Kenny Omega. We'll get to that in a little bit. We also have more AEW stuff that we definitely need to talk about because RJ isn't the only guy on this panel that marked out a little bit Wednesday night. But we got to get what's really the important stuff out of the way. Unfortunately, it's also a little bit somber. Earlier this week, the wrestling world learned of the passing of one of the legends and the creative minds in the history of the business, Pat Patterson. First ever Intercontinental Champion. Vince's finish guy for at least 30 years. Most importantly, and since this particular pay-per-view and this particular match is loved by all three of us, the creator of the Royal Rumble. Just one, an amazing mind. Two, very, it gets overlooked that he was a tremendous wrestler back in his day. There's some old stuff on WWE Network that's just like, holy crap, Patterson could go. Just really not a whole lot more can be said about Pat Patterson that hasn't already been said by every wrestler on social media that's ever dealt with him. Just kind of go around real quick. Your thoughts on Patterson, what you feel was a major contribution or just a great moment or whatever. RJ, I'm going to make you go first.
There's so much you could say. I've always been, as much as I love ladder matches, my favorite event every year has always been the Royal Rumble. So I've always been very grateful to a guy like Pat Patterson for that. There are too many moments to just pick one when he was one of the stooges for Vince. I mean, he was a major part of the entertainment that I got out of professional wrestling as a teenager. It is sad to see him pass away. He was always a very, very fantastic person from all accounts. And there are a lot of people that I have cheered for or cheer for who have been majorly influenced and taught by Pat Patterson. So I very, very much thank him for everything that he has done.
Brian, if you don't mind, I'll jump in real quick and I'll let you close it. When we lost Dusty Rhodes several years ago, Triple H made the statement on NXT TV that Dusty Rhodes wasn't just the learning tree; he was the oak. You could probably make the exact same comparison to Pat Patterson, because what Dusty Rhodes was, as far as a creative genius, or as the Dream would say, a creative super genius, baby. To the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW, Pat Patterson was that exact same guy for WWE. Because the two most out of the box wrestling concepts in history, Royal Rumble, War Games. One was Dusty, one was Pat. Nobody else in the history of wrestling came up with anything that out of the box. Everything else has been derived from that. Because let's be honest, let's take War Games real quick. Without War Games, you don't have the Elimination Chamber. Without the Royal Rumble, AEW doesn't have their variation on the Battle Royal, their Casino Battle Royal. No, I don't, because let's be honest, nobody would have thought of that unless, wait a minute, how about one guy every so often and it just keeps going instead of just your Andre the Giant Battle Royal, as I like to call them now. So we're harping on the fact that he created the Rumble, but something else we found out later on in his career, way after he retired, pretty much right after WWE Network launched, and they were doing that show Legends House. Patterson came out as gay, and he has gone on record that that wasn't a late in life realization for him. So we find out later on in his life, he's a pioneer in the LGBTQ community as literally the first gay wrestler. So, I mean, so many different walks of life have been impacted by that man. So, Brian, you're up.
It's not lost on me in reading all of the tributes that have come in over the week, just what a caring individual Pat was. He's responsible for being the booker, the road agent for a lot of people, most notably for me, The Rock. And Dwayne Johnson got on social media earlier this week, and a very heartfelt tribute to him, because it's not lost on me what an integral part of Rock's early success he was when he was trying to find himself and trying to get past the Rocky Maivia stuff and Blue Chipper and all that kind of stuff. It was Pat Patterson that he would go to for, I need some advice. I need to figure out how to get over. And Pat was there to help him. Pat was also responsible for me for one of the first gritty hardcore matches I ever saw, the New York street fight with Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh,
which
God.
I believe was 81 or 80 or something like that. It was the turn of the decade.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking how violent and gruesome it was, and completely different from any of the wrestling that I saw to that point. I want to say I was college age when I finally saw it for the first time. I think, well, they're giving it to each other here. So, and it's been said by both of us, both of you already, how much we love the Royal Rumble every year. I dare say that pretty much every Royal Rumble for the past 20, 25 years has given us some kind of a moment that we keep talking about. And for me, that moment was Cena returning in Madison Square Garden, way ahead of schedule. And just the look of abject horror on everybody's face in the ring. Like Triple H, like, you got to be kidding me. What are you doing here?
Hunter's the one that sold it the best, for sure.
Yeah.
That was
to this year when Edge came back, and the reaction that we know you had, and the reaction that I had watching it, and the passing of a great wrestling mind is the best way you can sum it up, and a true pioneer in every sense of the word.
So now let's go ahead and transition this into winter. Cue your best Sean Bean impression. Winter is coming. What a damn show Forget the main event. This was
Let's focus on what's important, though, guys. Shotzi Blackheart won the advantage for her team at War Games. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Forward to War Games because I'm a War Games junkie, but
that's not what we're talking about. I know.
In scheme of things, who gives a flying rat's ass about War Games right now?
I saw that yawn, RJ, and I am not amused.
Yeah. Hey, look. Hey, you can be Mark, you can do your thing, but I mean, let us have our fun too, dang it.
But
yeah, we're not talking about the card for a reason, boys and girls, and it's not just the fact that Dynamite was simply bonkers. Pay-per-view quality TV show. Damn. They could have literally put this thing on pay-per-view and it would have been amazing from top to bottom. There wasn't a single bad match on the card. And some hella surprises. Let's go ahead and start with the two big ones, and let's start with the non-spoiler one first. We have a
new AEW World Champion Kenny Omega.
We'll get to the match in a little bit. We'll talk about the finish first. Don Callis gets involved. Executive Vice President of Impact gets involved. Hang on. Gets involved, ends up doing like the magic slip. However, I still did not see how the mic went from Callis to Kenny Omega, but it did. Omega hits John Moxley with a mic, a couple of V-triggers, and a one-winged angel later, and they're making a break for it. There is no celebration in the ring. It's GTFO. Get the fudge out. They make a break for it. Alex Marvez catches him. Hey, what's going on? Can you explain this? And Don Callis, who underrated, one of the best mic men in the business. Good Lord. Ever since he was in WWE with the Truth Commission as the Jackal. Good Lord, dude on the stick is deadly. Like you'll find out what's going on this Tuesday night. But Dynamite's on Wednesday. Impact isn't. Well, Impact is on Tuesdays. So we're going to get an appearance from Kenny Omega on Impact, which...
Hey, full name. Say its full name.
What?
AEW World Champion Kenny Omega.
Champion Kenny Omega. On Impact. A lot of people talking of the possibilities of a full-blown working relationship between Impact and AEW. So what?
The Bucks have confirmed that that's what it is, and to expect big surprises. That's in quotes. That's what they said.
Well, I read the first big surprise on, I can't remember what site it was, but it was earlier today. And I read one very big surprise that could be coming, but we'll get to that in a second. But before we do what we do best on this show, fantasy booking. First off, let's talk the match. RJ, I'm sorry. I expected more from this. Don't get me wrong, damn good match. But I expected this to be on our list at near the very top of contenders for match of the year. And for me, it was a very good match, but it's not even close to match of the year candidates for this entire year. Oh my God, you're agreeing with me.
Absolutely. I expected a lot more, but I mean, to be fair, it was a television main event. It wasn't a pay-per-view main event. But there were spots that dragged on. There were spots that, for lack of a better term, I mean, I guess could have been cut out. I don't
But there were also spots in there that were just absolutely golden, and we'll get to it in a second because I'm going to toss one of those spots to Brian and let him talk about it. But continue your thoughts on the show real quick, without mentioning the word chair.
I gotta say that the one big takeaway that I had that isn't Kenny Omega related, that is AEW related, is I think this has obviously been the plan for a while. At Full Gear, they had Don Callis come in and do the commentary for the final match for the tournament. And now, to me, that seems like they did that so that when he was on commentary for Dynamite, it didn't seem out of place. It didn't seem weird. They're bringing him in to do commentary for Kenny Omega matches because he's known him for 30 years, and it's normal. It's fine. And then they do the spot on the floor where Kenny's injured, and that's what brings Don Callis over to the ring. It was all so well put together, starting at Full Gear when he commentated Kenny's match and did nothing other than that.
Exactly.
It's brilliant. It was brilliant booking. Brilliant, because I didn't see it coming at all because Callis had been there before.
Right. Brian, I want your thoughts on this, and I know you said you had several questions, and I'm assuming there are questions concerning this match, and you can get to them. But the price of admission of being able to ask those questions is, I would like your thoughts on that spot where Moxley takes the two chairs, sets them in front of each other, and they just start trading shots.
Unscripted glorious violence, I think, is the parlance that Jon Moxley is famous for using.
But Brian threw in a word there, which is very appropriate for this one. Glorious.
And I'm with both of your assessments about the quality of the match itself. I came into this match and I sat down on the couch and I'm like, okay, at least 3 of the matches I want to consider for match of the year are going to go out the window as a result of this one. I'm fully prepared for this, you know. And then I watched it back the next day, the second time, to confirm what I had seen groggily through sleep-deprived eyes the night before. And I remember thinking, that was a little clunky. That was a little drawn out. And I don't fault them for that. I know that you can't have a 5-star match every single time you wrestle. That's just the nature of the beast. But there were plenty of spots in this match where I literally thought they were trying to kill each other.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Moxley's style, and Omega rose to the occasion because Omega can do. One thing I've learned about Kenny Omega over the past, 3 or 4 years that I've been exposed to him now is he will wrestle whatever style you want him to, and he will do a very fine job of doing it. He can be technical, he can brawl, he can do the flip stuff if you ask him to. And for a guy who's wrestled all over the world, it's no surprise. They don't call him the best bout machine just because it's a cute little slogan to put on a t-shirt.
No, it's fact.
So but the finish legitimately shocked the hell out of me because, like you said, Patrick, I didn't think anything of the fact that Don Callis was there calling the match.
Right.
At all. I'm like, okay, they just, they bring in a special guest. He's obviously a friend of show, the way we say people are friend of show around here. He's obviously friends with Cody or friends with the Bucks or whatever. Friend of Kenny.
Friend of show. You mean like Thunder Rosa?
Yes.
Okay.
Hashtag friend of show. And then, I'll explain everything on Tuesday. And I'm like, what do you, because it didn't compute that that's what Don Callis's job is. He's the executive producer of Impact. And I thought, well, what are we talking about here? And then I have to take a tangent for a second here, because I don't remember if it was Wednesday or Thursday when the Triple H quote came out about, oh, we're always open to working with other promotions. And I'm like, no, you're not. Don't lie. Don't.
Hysterically.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm the biggest Triple H apologist there is, but even I had to draw the line there, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, my allergies flared up reading that bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not,
you know, I too am salivating at the possibilities of what this means because I actually saw, and I forget where I read it too. We've been theorizing for several months now about AEW having working relationships with insert name of promotion here.
mhm.
What if they strike gold with all four of them? You know,
WWE
New
said,
Japan, Impact, AAA, and oh geez, Ring of Honor. What if they strike? What if they do relationships with all four of them? Can you just imagine?
Can I interject something here about that real quick?
Are you
yes.
going to tell me to pump the brakes?
I am only
Okay.
because I would love to see that happen. Oh my God, that is dream world. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. What I am going to say is that I've been sitting on the last chapter of the Young Bucks book for like 7 days because I don't want to be done. And in reading the first however many chapters of that book, I have found out that the Young Bucks were unbelievably, majorly disrespected by Ring of Honor before they left, and Kenny Omega was majorly, unbelievably disrespected by New Japan before he left. So I feel like a working relationship with those two companies would be difficult because of now the Bucks and Kenny and everybody that's higher up in AEW understands business is business, and if it's better business, if it's best for business for all involved to
Right.
have a working relationship with them, disrespect or not, they will do it. But it might be a little harder to happen just because they still feel so disrespected by them.
Right. And also something else to throw in there. Impact makes perfect sense because the Bucks not only were in Impact as Generation Me, but one of the people that they credit to having so much success was Bob Ryder, who was at one point before his untimely passing, within the last couple of weeks, as one of the big voices in Impact, even dating back to the NWA TNA days, when Jarrett ran the show pre Dixie Carter. So Impact seems like a very good starting point, if you will. Honestly and truly, I would not be surprised to see a nice triple commingle between Impact, AEW, and the NWA. That would be quite nice. One thing I'm hearing is one of the big surprises that could be coming. Because back in the day, Kenny and the Bucks used to do this, right? Well, isn't there a tag team in AEW that also used to do this? There is a very strong rumor that within the next couple of weeks, the Good Brothers are going to show up on Dynamite unannounced and raise hell. So we go from this to this. Shut up and take my money. um, that story writes itself.
Yeah, oh God, yeah.
To paraphrase Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder, a blind, nutless monkey could do that job.
There are a plethora of dream matches that have just opened up with the confirmation of a working relationship.
First off, and here's the biggest one. Now, if this happens, the biggest beneficiary of this entire thing is AEW's women's division.
I could not agree more.
Because, okay, I really like Hikaru Shida. I think she's really freaking fun to watch. Britt Baker, I want to reach to the TV and choke. She's getting Miz level heel heat, in my opinion. Thunder Rosa, she's God. That's how we feel about her on this show. Again, Thunder Rosa, friend of show. But now, and you have so many up and coming talent in AEW. Anna Jay, Abaddon. First off, let me throw this one out there right now. Abaddon, Su Yung.
When I thought too.
Abaddon, no, even better. Abaddon, Su Yung, Rosemary, triple threat. Hell yes. Not just that. Deonna Purrazzo, Jordynne Grace. I mean, the list goes on and on because
I was about to ask you, for the uninitiated, like this guy in panel 2, can you please run down some of the talents they have over there in Impact? And I forgot about Deonna Purrazzo, and I forgot Jordynne Grace was over there too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's their top level is Deonna Purrazzo, Su Yung, Jordynne Grace. Rosemary's not wrestling that much anymore. She's doing a lot of the angle stuff, which that's something that's right down her alley. She loves doing that crap. But all of those women, are immensely talented, and with the and I'm just talking about people that have appeared on Dynamite. With the exception of Thunder Rosa, all 4 of them can wrestle circles around the entire AEW roster, including Shida.
Because when we talk about AEW's women's division, we talk about the one thing that it lacks really is depth. And, injuries and travel restrictions and all of that stuff notwithstanding, even RJ has said from the inception that the women's division was kind of
weak sauce
being brought along, and comparatively less than what NXT has, what Raw and SmackDown has, the Joshis over in Japan and stuff like that, and this immediately adds more pieces to that puzzle.
Oh yeah.
2 names haven't been mentioned yet that I got to throw out there from the Impact women's roster are Taya Valkyrie, who is phenomenal, and Tennille Dashwood.
First
who
off,
fans will know as Emma.
First off, I forgot all about Tennille Dashwood. Second off, I did not think that Taya Valkyrie was still in Impact. I thought she left.
Then there would be a weird. I got to throw this out just because there would be. It's not going to be, but it would be a weird dynamic if Kylie Rae hadn't just retired from the ring. But she was in the Impact Women's division for a while after being with AEW, and there are rumors that the reason that ended was backstage bullying. So it would have been really weird, and might still a little bit, because who knows if Kylie Rae retired from the ring. She might still work there. We don't know. But yeah, that's there. But Taya Valkyrie and Tennille Dashwood, after Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace, obviously, and Su Yung, are those are the 2 names that I got to throw out there that are going to be great. I was very much rooting for Tennille Dashwood to sign with AEW when she was a free agent, and she chose to go to Impact, and I was disappointed because I don't get the cable channel that Impact is on my streaming network, and never really put in the effort. I would watch clips online, but I never really put in the effort to get on Twitch and watch it. They stream every show that they do live on Twitch on Tuesday nights for free. It's Impact Wrestling. That's the name of the Twitch. So I will obviously make it a priority now.
Oh yeah.
But I never did before, and that disappointed me because so many people that I love would go to Impact, like Tennille Dashwood, like the Good Brothers. I'm a big fan of Rich Swann, who's their current world champion. I always thought he was phenomenal. No pun intended on the phenomenal thing.
But Eric Young was the world champion.
Did he win it?
Eric Young
I know
was. I think Rich Swann took it from him.
The last time I knew.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, it still does. Because I saw a thing on Twitter today that had a thing that said, and I gotta say, I marked out a little bit for it. It was a cartoon that somebody had drawn that said, "Wouldn't this be awesome?" And it was Kenny Omega cartoon holding up the AEW Championship and the Impact Championship with Jon Moxley on the ground on one side, and the person that was on the ground on the other side was Rich Swann. So he still is the champion.
Gotcha.
It happened, but man, would I love that.
Brian.
I'll ask you one of my questions, but I'll follow it up with what I think is a clarification.
Okay.
The question I was going to ask before both of you basically answered it without me asking it was, what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? And I think the answer to it, I'll answer my own question, is it really just means that AEW is carving its own path out for relevancy, for viewership, for opportunities for all of these wrestlers who are looking for exposure. I'm sure there's a big second segment of the wrestling Twitter populace who thinks, oh my goodness, they're going to put WWE out of business. Come on, guys. Come on. That's not what this is about. And I think one of the signs of my evolution through doing this podcast with the two of you is I have the sensibility now to realize that a wrestling promotion that is not named WWE does not exist to try and put WWE out of business. It exists as an alternative. If you don't like what you see over here in Connecticut, give this a try. You know, if it's not satisfying you, give this a try. You know, give what they're doing down in Jacksonville a try, or give what they're doing on Impact a try. Try it. You might like it. So I think that's really the answer to my question without really having to ask it. This is not a death blow to WWE. It's not. That's not what it's about.
No. It could definitely.
I will. While we're talking about the competition, I just have to throw out there that Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite kicked the shit out of NXT.
No,
as it should,
by 400,000 viewers.
100,000.
Yes, sir.
2 words for you. Freaking dumb. Here's my thing, and let's talk viewership. Let's talk ratings for a second in the quote unquote Wednesday Night War, which really hasn't been much of a Wednesday Night War. It's been pretty one-sided. AEW is clearly the WCW in this one, at least for that 83-week run. If NXT would have beaten AEW in the ratings this week, I honestly think that would have been catastrophic for AEW, because AEW literally chips center of the table.
Yeah.
You know, we are going to throw everything we've got at this. This is going to be, we're calling our shot. We're swinging for the fences. You know, we're at Top Golf and we're trying to hit the damn thing over the net.
Except for Brian, he's aiming for that target right in the front where he can try to get like 3 points.
And that's one of my favorite things about AEW since the inception of Dynamite has been that while they only do quarterly pay-per-views, they do regular pay-per-view quality Dynamite. This is the best one by far, but it's a regular occurrence.
Dare I say, like, maybe a Clash of the Champions?
Right.
So, Brian, do you have any other questions pertaining to this, not pertaining to any other questions that does not pertain to the other spoiler?
Okay, it's a question primarily for RJ.
Okay.
Over under 6 months for Kenny with the title. Do you want the over or the under?
Well, What I want is the over. What I would bet is the under. I have to admit there is a small part of me that came away from that outcome disappointed, having nothing to do with Kenny being the champion. I was very much looking forward to the elite pose with all three championships at the end of that show, and that's what we're going with. These three guys are back together, and we're taking over, and you can't stop us because we have all the gold that matters to us, and we're the EVPs, and you can't stop us. Now, part of that is because I love cleaner heel Kenny so much, and I love the heel Bucks so much. It looks like both of those two things are happening. I just wish it was together
Right.
more than but because if the Bucks were part of it, if he had won the championship by the Bucks coming in and double super kicking Moxley with the ref's back turn, and that's how Kenny wins, I would say over for sure. But because it's him and Don Callis and who knows what else, I would have to say under. I don't know who's going to beat him for it off the top of my head, but
Hangman.
Patrick, you're going to beat him for the title. This will be good. I'll shut up and take my money.
Hangman's the top answer for sure.
Yeah, that's my call, Hangman.
Could you make the argument then, RJ, that this fashion in which Kenny won it is him trying to forge a new path for himself as a heel? Like,
yeah.
It would be too simple to have the Bucks come and help him out and reprise what he did in Japan.
Right, and that's clearly not what he wants to do anymore. He has been all the way from being the tag team with Hangman. Kenny's been very different, very wanting to show that he has more to offer than this one-dimensional, what some people perceive as one-dimensional character that he played in New Japan. He wants to show that he is a Chris Jericho-like chameleon who can do what he wants, how he wants, and is the best in the world at what he does.
I can see with.
I could also see Don Callis and Kenny Omega in the ring on Impact, cutting a promo, explaining to everybody, this is what's happening. We're not alone. This is a group. And then super kick party. And then the Bucks come out, blowing the roof off the building if it was full of fans on Impact. And that's, we have promoted that Kenny Omega is going to be here. We have in no way promoted the Bucks are going to be here. Right. But look here. I could see for sure. It's unlikely, and it's probably a little bit of thinking on my part, but
let's be honest. This Tuesday on Impact, all bets are off.
Absolutely.
All bets are off. If it's possible, it could, anything is on the table. And this is why we love wrestling.
I think it's funny when AEW is kind of competing with itself on Tuesday nights now, though.
Yeah. Yeah, a very good point.
Because they do have YouTube. It is a highly watched show by the AEW fan base. I watch it.
Oh yeah, Dark's awesome. So can we talk about the other part?
Yeah, absolutely.
What else happened?
All right.
Something.
Shut your friggin' mouth, RJ.
It was only a 2-hour show. I what else could they possibly?
Well, Mother Sting.
Hey.
Yes.
I literally fell off my couch.
Okay. RJ is the self-professed world's biggest Kenny Omega mark. You can make that statement for me for Sting. He has been my guy since 1984. He has always been my guy. I have told the story on this show, getting grounded because Vader powerbomb bludgeoned him to crap and beat him for the WCW title. Grounded from wrestling for an entire year. Sting has been, always will be my dude. So let's set the stage. It is Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes in a tag team match against Will Hobbs. We will not call him Powerhouse Hobbs on this show because that name is stupid. Will Hobbs and absolute garbage. Say what?
I said, and his tag team partner.
Absolute and his tag team partner, absolute garbage. Ricky Starks.
You might be burying the lead here, Patrick. Let's keep it moving.
Probably so. Beat down at the end. Team Taz is about to waffle Cody with the FTW title. We go, lights go out. That video package plays with the trees and winter, and it fades to black, and then you start seeing the words materialize, and it's Sting. First thing I thought was, so help me God, if this is Glacier, I'm going to throw something at the TV. And then, as you look at it, the first thing you see is that S, and I'm like, so help me God, if it's Shaq, I'm going to throw something at this damn TV.
Could you be any more anticlimactic?
We already know it's Sting, dude.
No, I know that, but I'm just talking about like if that had happened, if it was Glacier or oh gee whiz. What don't you have a prop for?
Nothing.
You are.
I swear to God, I happened to be sitting here and I realized that it was sitting here and grabbed it.
Excuse me while I check out my box of gimmicks.
You are the carrot top of this show. Except you're funnier. Anyway, Sting comes out. The fans are going nuts.
They're going banana.
Going banana by time Jon Moxley's promo.
Yes.
Before that match. First off, damn great promo, but at the end of it, the little send up to Pat Patterson, because there's only one thing left to do. Make everybody go banana.
And a little wink.
Historically, always had problems with his plurals and singulars, and always get them mixed up. And his S's, because that's why The Rock never hit anybody with the spine buster. It was always the pine buster. And it was always called that because of Pat Patterson. So when Moxley said that, I was like, yes, nice. But the crowd definitely went banana on that one. And I got to be honest, you might
Archie, if you pull out a banana from that table
next to you. I was putting the Glacier mask away.
Good, gee whiz.
I was looking to see if I had one, but I don't. You might think for me, I'm losing my crap at this point. I didn't. I literally am sitting there next to Hello Nurse going, oh my God. Just
and I'm assuming by this point in your relationship, she understands what that meant for you.
Oh, absolutely. Teresa knows. Teresa knows that the two wrestlers being in the ring that would probably move me to tears are Sting and Edge. And I was like, oh my God. And it's just wide-eyed, and there have been 3 points in my life as a wrestling fan. I was in stunned silence. Because you guys know me, I talk a lot. When the Hardys returned at WrestleMania, I'm at Brian's house, and everybody in Brian's living room is going banana. And I'm just.
I may or may not have been doing the.
Yes. And by may or may not, he means he totally was. Wednesday night was Sting. And the very first time The Fiend made his entrance at SummerSlam to kick the crap out of Balor. Those 3 times I'm sitting there just going, God. The only thing that would have made that more perfect would have been a full crowd. Because here's the part where if you're an old school WCW guy like your boy right here, lump in the throat right here, because it's not Excalibur that says anything first when Sting comes through the tunnel. It's not Excalibur, not JR. It's Tony Mother effing Schiavone. The only freaking person it could have been. The way he delivers it, it's Sting! That's like a kid in a candy store, like it has been building up inside of that man for 20 plus years to be able to just let that rip. Because Tony Schiavone, much like Sting, Tony Schiavone was a part of that very last Monday Nitro. So
my reaction was very dissimilar to yours. I expected that it was not going to be until around the midway point of the title match that I was going to be involuntarily yanked off my couch by Dynamite. It was not that. It did not wait that long. I screamed the words, oh, like as soon as the letters materialized on the screen, Sting, I screamed at the top of my lungs with 3 sleeping 6-year-old girls upstairs. At the top of my lungs, I screamed, oh my God, as I fell off the couch to my knees, dropping the 15-pound championship into a heap on the floor, and then stared at the TV, wide-eyed, jaw-dropped, until one of my 3 daughters came very politely and quietly down the stairs and walked over to her father, who was on his knees in the middle of the living room floor staring at the television, and told me, Dad, you just scared us.
My bad.
She had previously been sleeping 30 seconds before that. And I looked at her and patted her on the shoulder and then looked back at the TV because I was unable to speak to her. I waited until the segment ended, and then I came back and said, I'm sorry, honey, and I gave her a hug and a kiss and told her, tell your sisters I'm sorry too, go back to bed. If you get scared again in a little while, I'm sorry. And she said, okay, Dad, and gave me a hug and went back upstairs. And I don't know if they got scared when I screamed and jumped and screamed again when Kenny won the championship. They might have, but they didn't come back down. Yeah, I was very loud, very, very mark out. It was similar to the reaction that I had when AJ Styles came out at the Royal Rumble. But even more so because that was semi-expected. Like, we all knew AJ was a free agent. We all knew it was possible he was going to show up in the Rumble. The rumors were everywhere. I have to give mad props to everybody that works in the front office or any part of All Elite Wrestling for the fact that that did not in any way, shape, or form get out at all. There were no rumors. There was no discussion. Nobody knew anything.
No, and to my knowledge, That's only in this generation, like the social media era of professional wrestling. It's only happened twice, and we've mentioned the other one already, the Hardys, the Hardys at the Mania that RJ was at. Nobody saw that one coming. Nobody saw this coming, and it was beautiful. Sting didn't lay a hand on anybody. He just got in the faces of Arn, Darby, Cody. Did he get in Dustin's face too?
A little bit.
All right.
A little.
But,
I have to mention that I did get a little teary-eyed, and the lump in my throat, while the lump in your throat happened with Tony Schiavone, which was awesome, and it had to be him. I'm 100% in agreement.
Yep.
The lump in my throat happened when the stare down happened between Sting and Cody, because Cody has made it a publicly well-known fact that as much as he loves his dad, when he was a kid, Sting was his favorite wrestler.
Yep.
And I bet you both can guess what part I marked out for.
Darby.
He stared down everybody.
Oh, yeah.
He spent a little extra time in Darby's corner.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And I'm salivating.
He didn't just stare down Darby. He looked Darby up and down. Like, and the look on his face was almost like, so you're the guy. You're the guy they keep comparing to me.
And the look on Darby's face is like, hello, sir, it's nice to meet you. And anything you want. Can we get a drink for Mr. Sting?
Yeah. Last thing I want to mention on this one. Shortly after that, they confirmed that he had signed a contract and that Sting will speak. Huh?
Multi-year contract. Got to throw that in there.
Yes, multi-year. That Sting will speak this Wednesday on Dynamite, and that's where Jim Ross chimed in and actually said something that was great for a change. I nominate Tony Schiavone to conduct that interview.
It can't be anybody else.
No, it can't be. Just like the first interview to be conducted in ring on Dynamite had to be Schiavone, this has to be Schiavone.
I agree 100%.
I mean, the only thing that could be no. I was gonna say the only thing that would make more sense would be Gene Okerlund, but no, Schiavone makes actually more sense than Okerlund.
Yeah.
But God, that was beautiful, beautifully done. So let's take that and throw it toward another part of our RJ's world, and his elbow rubbing with people in the world of professional wrestling and professional wrestling merch. And we talk about his boy Ryan Barkin and the fact that at Pro Wrestling Tees, excuse me, guys, RJ, you know where I'm going. Talk about this.
A couple years ago, the Young Bucks set the record for most t-shirt sales in 24 hours on ProWrestlingTees.com. Last year, Chris Jericho broke that record. And this past Wednesday night into Thursday, Sting shattered that record. In 16 hours, he broke the record. And in the following 8 hours, shattered it. That record for t-shirt sales in 24 hours for Pro Wrestling Tees might never be broken. Ryan has not told us the exact number, but he said that they expected a big outcome. They did not expect as many as they got, and that he does not expect for that record to ever be broken. He did not say that when the cease and desist shirt for the Bucks set the record. He did not say that when Jericho broke the record. He did say that this past Thursday after Sting broke the record. He doesn't think it'll ever be broken.
If you ever find out numbers on that, please let us know, because that
Sure. There have been multiple posts on the VIP page and people messaging Ryan to try to get the number, and the people at Pro Wrestling Tees just keep giving us joke numbers that are clearly not true. But if we have to find out,
what is the last joke number you recall?
1 billion.
Well, bravo to Sting. Mazel tov.
Way to go. I asked this question to RJ, and he could not remember. Brian, you definitely have a memory of a steel trap. You might be able to remember this. In the world of GOAT conversations, have we done Sting on this show?
I thought Sting was one of the people where it was a duh, so we shied away from him.
That might be true.
Yeah.
Because it's like doing a GOAT conversation about Ric Flair. It's like doing a GOAT conversation about,
Very true. Is there anything else on this show in terms of AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming that we really want to dive deeply into? Anything or go ahead.
I don't know that we want to dive deeply into it, but I have to give Hikaru Shida props for the promo that she cut, because when she was talking about not being scared of Abaddon at all, and then you hear that sound and she gets freaked out and wants to start over, but they're live. That was very, very well done. The way that she played being terrified was phenomenal.
And first off, one thing I said to RJ on our private chat, because we kept away from the group chat because we realized Brian wasn't watching it live with us. Holy crap, her English is really good.
It is.
It's like, wow. So more and more week after week, I'm more impressed by that woman. So we haven't really run that long into this show. Do you guys want to do the GOAT conversation actually, no, we're sitting at 50 minutes right now.
Yeah, that would probably go too long at this point, I would think.
Honestly, I don't want to edit a 2-hour long show.
And I don't want to cut the New Day GOAT conversation short at all. It deserves.
What I will say, gentlemen, it's rather advantageous that we're discussing the New Day for the GOAT, because there is a collection right now on the WWE Network that was just released, the Best of the New Day, which I watched also this week in preparation if we did it tonight, and it reminded me of a lot of things that I had forgotten about them, especially at the very beginning of their run. So if you haven't watched it and you want a little refresher,
Next week, unless something absolutely massive happens, that's going to be the bulk of our show. There's no.
Probably not Impact, I would imagine.
Say what?
Yes, probably on Impact. There'll be something to talk about.
We'll talk about what's going on with that. If anything massive happens at War Games, we'll talk about that. But I do believe, and I really want to make sure that at least 60% of next week's show is New Day.
And it will be. I've been meaning to ask you this. I will ask you right now. Did you see the tweet exchange between Dax and the North? Okay, that's a no. Dax of FTR put out a tweet. The entire tweet said the North. I think it was Ethan Page that answered him. It was one of the two of them that answered him with a picture of themselves, and it said, "We are ready." And Dax replied, "No, you aren't."
Amazing Grace. Oh my God.
Let the match happen in January, please. I don't want more of my match of the year candidates to shrivel up because of another dream match between.
Why do they have to shrivel? We can just literally just have a list of like, hey, these 30 matches are.
Here's the Iggy's participation trophy for match of the year. Congratulations to all the competitors.
No participation trophies. We have a 17-way tie for first. We have a 17-way tie for first. Shout out to Chris Lemke. Oh my god! Oh my god! The North and FTR. Ugh. The North and the Bucks.
God, there's so many.
The North and the Lucha Bros.
Mm.
Holy crap! I would say the Rascals in there, but they're in NXT now.
Yeah.
Which
Put them over big time in that same interview where
what?
he talked about Triple H in the same interview where he talked about being open to working relationships. He put the Rascals over big.
Oh yeah,
Talking about
rightfully
how great they are,
they're
great
good.
job building themselves, and how hard they work, and
and they're innovative as crap. I mean, they might be and in the grand scheme of like the grand evolution of like creative tag teams, I think you go from like Ricky and Robert to Sean and Marty to Matt and Jeff to Nick and Matt to the Rascals.
yeah, probably.
You just go from that almost kind of like a linear string of like creative evolution. So it's all that's pretty damn cool. Which
You left out Deuce and Domino. Sorry.
Slap the hell out of you.
RJ agrees with me. He didn't say anything.
I don't think that face right there says everything it needs to be said. So got the glasses down at the bridge of the nose. Oh, he's giving the teacher look. All right.
Mad props for that.
Anything else we want to discuss? Real briefly, I'm looking forward to what looks like it's going to be an angle between Britt Baker and our homegirl Thunder Rosa. Because Thunder Rosa can have a match with a broomstick and get the broomstick over, and Britt Baker could probably get, if she were still alive, get Mother Teresa pissed off.
Yeah.
Britt Baker could probably get Mother Teresa to call her a bitch. And you know what? Dr. Baker, that means you're doing your job right.
Absolutely.
If you have 90-year-old grandmas that think you're a bitch, doing it right.
Unblock me on Twitter so that I can actually follow your rivalry with Thunder Rosa and not have to have people send me screenshots of your tweets.
Yeah, okay. You're blocked by more people on Twitter than I am.
That's reason.
I found out I'm blocked by 2 people. I will not mention the second one because it's political and this is a politics-free zone. So, yeah, we'll go with that. But it is someone in Washington that blocked me. So, moving right along. Before we get out of here, gentlemen, any final thoughts? RJ, I'll save you for last.
I have one final thought.
So,
War Games.
Yes. I'm looking forward to War Games. I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell happens to Pat McAfee. Because he's going to... Much like Adam Cole has been the guy the last couple of years that has taken that stupid, idiotic, insane bump, it's going to be Pat McAfee this year. It has to be. And that's literally like what I'm looking for. Like, okay, how are they going to kill Pat McAfee? He's going to get caught somehow, and it's going to be glorious because he's going to look like $1 million doing it.
I just had a thought.
What?
Last month, they tried to retire the Undisputed Era. What if there's fire involved?
Ooh.
I don't know how they would do it and make it safe and everything like that. I'm sure they'd find a way. But they took that banner and set it on fire.
There's really no way to make it safe. It's fire.
Yeah.
Ask the Dudleys. There's no way to make fire safe.
Or Edge.
So what?
I said or Edge and McFoley.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that one too. But yeah, I'm looking very forward to that. Real quick tangent on the world's baddest punter. Nurse Rant Mode and I were watching on YouTube the 10, 15 greatest highlights of Pat McAfee on YouTube. And she saw that hit on Trendon Holloway or Holiday, and just like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. Pat McAfee is no joke. So we saw that at TakeOver when he wrestled Cole. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. But you know what? I'm looking more forward to this coming Wednesday. And this coming Tuesday, I'll have to watch the highlights because I'll be at work. Because, holiday season and I work in a warehouse.
It's the holiday season.
So next week we're gonna recap everything that's happened over the course of the last 4 or 5 days, and we're gonna talk the New Day, and we're gonna start making some preparations because we got an award show coming up in a couple of weeks. We got some prep work to do, boys and girls. So, any final thoughts?
Apparently, Kenny Omega is your new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. So
Right.
I have since the minute that the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page turned their phones around on BTE and revealed that logo to announce that All Elite Wrestling was a thing. I have been waiting to be living in a world where the AEW World Champion is Kenny Omega and the AEW Tag Team Champions are the Young Bucks. And I am finally living in that glorious world and could not be.
Okay. So RJ is mostly in the world of pro sports, mostly a Boston fan. He is a Red Sox fan. He is a Bruins fan. Much like Boston fans and much like University of Alabama fans, RJ is becoming one very big $500 word. Hashtag insufferable.
I thought you were going to call him something else for a second. And
What?
thought you were going to call him a front runner.
Oh, God, no. I know he's not a front runner. I'm just calling he's just insufferable.
I'm not allowed to be a Browns fan and also a front runner. That's not a thing.
Well, that is true, but
yeah. Hey, RJ and I both know that because in the world of college football, yeah, I'm definitely not a front runner. We still bleeding from that ass whooping last weekend.
The last time Georgia won the national championship, I wasn't alive.
Last time Auburn won a national championship, I was living in this state. Thanks for waiting till I moved up here, guys. Anyway, let's go ahead and get out of here, guys. Hell of a show. Always love hanging out with you. Looking forward to next week when we talk about this more. For Brian, for RJ, I'm Patrick. This has been Wrestling with Egos. We'll see you next week because this is why we love wrestling.